Andrew, thanks for taking the time to speak to us today. It's been an incredibly busy window with 9 arrivals and several departures as well. How do you assess the business done by the club this summer?
Yeah, I'm pleased with the results. I feel like everything went as planned. This was a planned 3 windows in the making. We started last summer, really looking at what we inherited, where the squad was at, what we would need to achieve to kind of rebalance the squad, bring in players that really fit the model that we want to see out on the pitch, and also how to make sure that we do that in a way that's compliant with what our financial needs are. So in January, we were able to invest into a couple of attackers, and then this summer hit the ground running with our new signings. I think it was really helpful too that we were able to bring in some of these new signings early in the summer, and we've already seen some of our new players have an impact on the pitch already in the first 4 matches.
How has the profile of the squad changed since the end of last season?
I think we're certainly a bit more athletic. There's more pace, ability to get the ball up the field quicker. I also think there's kind of renewed hunger to succeed within the squad and within the club as a whole. In terms of the players themselves, we've continuously lowered the average age of the squad. I think in 23-24 we were one of the oldest squads in terms of playing time. It was near 30 years old average age. Against Wrexham, our starting lineup was just under 25 years old. But it's the right type of balance as well. So we have plenty of veteran leadership. We have guys in their prime. We also have young players mixing in. And some of those young players are players that we rate amongst the best in the league in their position, whether it's Isaac Price or Tom Urbani, Toby Collier. These types of players are 21 years old and they can already contribute to the first team. So I feel like we've struck a good balance of players that are really hungry to come in here and succeed. Good leadership on the pitch and the ability to hopefully sustain through a really grueling season.
Many of the new signings have stepped straight into the action. How impressed have you been with the way that they've got up to speed with the Championship almost immediately?
Yeah, and some of those new players haven't played in this country, so it's an additional challenge for them to adapt personally and to adapt to the pace and the physicality of the Championship. So really pleased to see that. I think it says a lot about our data and scouting team knowing what attributes we're looking for in players that we're signing. And it says a lot about the coaching staff as well. It means that our coaching staff are able to integrate these players quickly and very clearly communicate to them what's needed, and yeah, that's gone very well.
You've spoken before about the importance of sporting data in recruitment and building a shadow squad, and it's clear from the speed which the club acted that you were ready to bring in replacements. Just how much work goes into being ready for all eventualities?
Yeah, there's a lot behind the scenes. This has also been a year-long process. I really wanted to utilize my past network and relationships when taking on this task, and the first thing was bringing in a data team that was quickly embraced by my colleagues here. We've really built a nice process between our scouting team and our data team, built a proprietary platform where all of our information lives. And there's a great workflow between everyone in the group. Essentially, it enables us to quickly evaluate players as well as identify players. We've built out a strategy window by window, and that then feeds into what we call a shadow squad. And essentially, that's managed by the scouting staff, by Ian Pierce, Dan Sale, and the rest of the team. These are players that have checked every box, across data, across scouting, and also across finance, and are they attainable? And we can plan out looking 1 window, 2 or 3 windows ahead. So that's enabled us to move quickly. We don't deviate off our shadow squad. So in each position, we've identified a handful of players that we would want to sign. And we go for those players, and yeah, we don't make exceptions because we don't want to fall into the trap of making long-term mistakes.
One of the players the club sold this summer was Tom Fellows. Just how difficult a decision was that to make?
Yeah, it's always a difficult decision to sell a player like Tom. He's beloved in this community, came up through our academy, and I think that makes it a bit different sometimes than selling other players that maybe didn't come through that pathway within the club. But yeah, coming into this window, we had a very clear-cut strategy. We had been signing players in anticipation of what we knew would be our outgoings. That allowed us to be patient with our outgoings to ensure that we get the best value that we could. And sometimes those replacements are like-for-like replacements. Sometimes it's taking those resources and deploying them elsewhere in the squad to ensure that we're a well-balanced squad and at the level that we need to be at to compete. With Tom, that was the offer from Southampton was the best offer we've ever received for Tom. Given that he's a homegrown player, there's a benefit from a PSR perspective as well. So for example, when we're selling a player who didn't come through our academy, you're normally paying about 5% off your value in solidarity and training compensation. There's normally other obligations outstanding that you have to pay, as well as potential sell-ons, which can be anywhere from like 10 to 20%. So when you remove all of those costs from the fee we're receiving for Tom, it becomes a lot more valuable to us. There's also the human element of it. We knew that this could be an eventuality. So back in the winter, I had spoken one-on-one with Tom, and we had spoken with his agent about what we would do in certain cases, how the club sees the situation, but also wanting to make sure that whatever move happens, if there were one to happen, that it would also be right for Tom. And we do that with every player. The deal at the end of the day has to work for us and has to be at our valuation, but we also don't want transfer drama. We don't want to put a player in a bad position because otherwise you're not going to get good deals done.
The PSR position that Bilkul inherited was clearly a challenging one. How much progress has been made through player trading this summer?
Yeah, it was a significant challenge. There were significant past losses inherited, and those losses still apply to this fiscal year because it's a 3-year window. So therefore, we've had to address that issue last fiscal year, so 24-25, as well as this current season. So the trading that we did in the summer was critical in terms of addressing our PSR threshold and being compliant. What we've done over the past 3 windows gets us to a point where we feel comfortable and can now be in a position where instead of worrying or having to fix a PSR position, we now can move forward managing it. But I am really happy with the work that's been done because whilst going through that process, we've been able to stay competitive. The conversation has been about, can we compete for promotion, not are we safe from relegation? When you have to fix that big of a gap, sometimes things can spiral, and we've had to be really methodical about how we go through this. And we've been able to reinvest into some really good players and start to create this virtuous cycle of value creation that will help us over time.
One of the biggest decisions of the summer was to appoint Ryan Mason as our new head coach. How impressed with him have you been since he joined?
Yeah, I guess I'm not surprised. He's doing a great job, but I'm not surprised because it's why we hired him, what we expected from him. He's, from the moment I first spoke with him, I felt like it clicked. Like he was able to not only express a style of football, but demonstrate how that can be achieved, how he would coach to achieve that, and the culture that he would build. And I think the ability to integrate players very quickly and have new signings featuring as starters for us already is a good sign of that.
Away from the men's team, our women's team has also had a big summer, a number of new players, and also a new home of the Alexander Stadium. How much progress do you feel Siobhan Hodgett's Still's side have made?
Yeah, it's night and day. I think just over a year ago, the club didn't even technically own the women's team. And there's been a lot of effort put in by Chev and others to professionalize the organization. So there's been a lot of improvement on the pitch. Off the pitch is just as important. To be able to have a nice professional match day experience is great to help build support for the program, as well as give the players the first-class facilities that they deserve.
Just moving into the academy part of the club as well, Lee Downing has been promoted to PL2 boss. What is your overview of that specific area?
Yeah, I'm happy to see Lee take over that position. It's great to see players promoted through the club. It's also great to see that with coaches and staff. I also think it's great timing for Lee and for Dion, given that we've just installed a new first team coaching staff. So it's a great opportunity to ensure that the U21s and the academy all the way down are integrating with our first team coaches, that they're all on the same page around playing style, best practices. It's good timing, and excited for Lee.
Speaking of excitement, it feels like an exciting time here at the Albion, especially given our start to the campaign. What are your hopes for the rest of the season, Andrew?
Yeah, it does feel like exciting times. My hope is that supporters, they see the commitment that our players and our coaching staff have. I think that there's already started to be more of a connection between the players and supporters. So we can talk about finance and data and all that all day long until people fall asleep, but there's also like these intangibles, right, that I think are really important. And that connection between players, coaching staff, and supporters, that's something special, and that's something that can carry a team through the ups and downs of a really long season and hopefully create something special in the end.